So I haven't told any stories in a long time, and I feel like I should do that, probably starting off this year with my story about my New Year's, because it was the craziest New Year I've ever had in my life. You know, like they say, the most crazy nights of your life are always spontaneous and unplanned. If my New Year's Eve was not like the pinnacle of that, I don't know what is. Because it was like New Year's Eve morning, and I had like no plans for going out that night. Like I was just gonna stay in, I was gonna, you know, drink alone and cry that I didn't have a party to go to. Just, you know, the usual. Then I got a call from my friend Taylor, and she was like, yo, Tom, what are you doing for New Year's? And I said nothing, and then she was like, hey, you know what we should do? Go to Times Square. And I thought about it for a second because, you know, going to Times Square is like 2 hours away. It would be chaotic. It would be, you know, awful probably. We'd probably get like kidnapped or something. I don't know. It just like, I could see like a million things going wrong with this idea. So immediately I just said, yes, let's fucking do this. My New Year's goal was to not curse as much. Who sticks to their New Year's goal though, you know, whatever. So anyway, she picked me up like an hour later. We went to a train station, hopped on a couple trains, took about an hour and a half, and then we like got off the train, walked up these stairs, and like instantly we were like a block away from Times Square, which is pretty crazy on like New Year's Eve because there's like just people everywhere and it was dark and like all the entire city's lit up. But the only problem is if you've never been to Times Square for New Year's, there's like, you have to have a ticket in order to get in to the event, which I know you're probably thinking, why don't you just sneak in? It's impossible to sneak in, pretty much. Like, they had roadblocks on every single possible entrance to Times Square, also with like 50 cops on each street, so it's a lot easier said than done. So we were trying to think of like a way to get in, and of course I came up with this idea that we would tell the police officers that our parents had our tickets to get into Times Square, and all we gotta do is get to them, and then we can prove it later. Which, you know, sounds like a foolproof plan, but it was not at all. But it was a start, so we tried that. So I had Taylor and her friend that she brought with us. I had them do all the talking to the police officers, because God knows if I tried to tell them that, they wouldn't believe me at all. They would just like, you know, get rid of me. They'd probably arrest me. But you have two ladies doing the talking, you know, a little flirtatiousness, a little you know, a little cleavage. Just let them do their thing. And I know you're probably thinking that's crazy, it won't work. It did, actually. They went up to the first officer and they told him the whole story about like how, you know, we were all related, you know, we were all like cousins or whatever, and our parents are in Times Square and we just gotta get to them. And the police officer was like, listen, you're not really even allowed to be here talking to me right now, but I don't care. So if I were you, I would go talk to that police officer up there. He's the guy in charge, and I'm just not gonna do anything. That's what the first officer said, so I was like, alright, cool, let's see where this takes us. So we went up to the next police officer. I had Taylor do all the talking again, and Taylor goes, same thing, you know, yeah, our parents, they're in Times Square, we just gotta go see them, we can prove that they have our tickets, we're not lying. And then that next police officer said, listen, you're not really allowed up here right now, to be honest, but I don't really care. That guy over there, he's in charge, so if you want to go talk to him, he can probably help you out. And when I heard him say that, I thought I had like deja vu or something, because it was literally like almost the exact same thing the dude over there said. So we kind of just looked at each other, we were like, alright, let's do this. So then we went up to the next officer, and this probably happened about 5 or 6 times, where we would go to a police officer and they would say the exact same thing and then point us to another dude further up. It was crazy how many checkpoints they had. You had to go through like literally like 6 different checkpoints. But eventually we got to like this giant crowd of people. It wasn't actually in Times Square, but it seemed like it was like the final checkpoint pretty much. And for some reason everyone was just sitting there like behind like this little like metal gate fence thing that anyone could like hop over. It's like up to your waist. Like I don't know why everyone was just standing there. So one at a time we all hopped over, and then I was hopping over the gate last, and then a police officer's like, hey, you can't do that. You're not allowed to hop over the fence. And then my 2 friends are standing right there, and I'm just like, what do I do? They're right, what do you want me to do? And then I swear to God, this is how much the cops give a shit in New York. He was like, listen, I'm just saying, you're not allowed to hop over the metal fence. If I happen to turn around though and not see you do that though, you know, I can't blame myself. And then he turned around and just stared blankly the other way. There was nothing happening over there. And I just kind of stood there with like my crotch on this fence awkwardly for like 2 seconds, and I was like, alright, let's do this. And then I hopped over, and then we just fucking booked it, pretty much. And then we thought we were, like, in the clear, like, we didn't have to do any more running. There was still, like, one more little checkpoint thing, but we were pretty much in. And then we ran into these two officers who, I just want to say, these dudes were, like, awesome from the start. I kind of want them to see this video, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't want them to, like, hate me for lying. But yeah, we see them, and we were expecting the whole same story the other, like, dozen cops told us, you know, them just to tell us to go further up or whatever. But they were like, alright, so basically your parents are in Times Square and you just need someone to find them for you. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. And he was like, alright, let's find your parents. So the three of us just kind of looked at each other and we were like, alright, cool. Because it sounds like a really good plan, you know, we're getting into Times Square and we're being escorted by two police officers, which is awesome. But the problem is we're looking for people that aren't there. So I didn't know how this was gonna end, so we were basically screwed. And you know what? I'm gonna be an asshole. I think that's where I'm gonna end this video. If you guys wanna know what happens next on how I managed to break into Times Square for New Year's, you can watch next Monday's video. That's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing. We're gonna make this a series. Guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up down below if you want to see the next part. If you missed my last video where I talk about self-acceptance and all that fun stuff, you can check that video out right there. And guys, that's really all I've got to say on it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday. Peace.